Welcome to Rider Nation Station, presented by American Manufacturing Solutions, your total logistics partner, investing in Rider Nation Station and St. Mary's, Ohio, and to our other fine sponsors.
Hello and welcome to another week of Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Mark, thanks for joining me again.
Zach, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Mark, this week, unfortunately, the Rough Riders had a loss in double overtime against the Ottawa Glandorf Titans. However, 2 overtimes gives us a lot of clips to look at.
All right, let's go.
Reminder, every week we're going to have this show, Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. It's going to premiere at 6 o'clock before the Friday night game. It's available all the time on our YouTube station, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and check out our every week as videos pop up. You'll get notifications for that, so be sure to check it out every week. Well, Mark, I wanted to talk a little bit first. We had a question come in. Apparently at the Ottawa Glandorf JV game, there were only 2 officials.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Wanted to talk about, is there a point where the officials would have to postpone, cancel the game for there not being enough? Can they run a game with 1 official or with 2 officials? And obviously there's differences between JV and varsity, but what do you look at with that?
Well, that gets to be tough because there's no prescribed mechanics out there for 2 officials. The Federation puts out a 3 mechanics manual, which you'll see 3 officials depending on levels, but for 2 guys, it's really hard. And if there would be 1 guy, and if I was the only guy there and knew that or didn't know that going in, I would probably say no. For liability reasons, it's just not safe for 1 guy to try to operate this. I know it's too bad for the kids, but you got to look at it as it's a safety factor for everybody going along. So I'll give those guys credit for working the game, but 2 guys, especially at the JV level, these kids can still run.
Right.
And it's hard.
Yeah. And I think, I imagine that you probably have to have a conversation with the coach before the game. You need to have a lot of patience with us. See everything.
There wouldn't be a lot of taking a lot of less than positive comments from the coaching staff. That's for sure.
Sure.
Because there's only 2 guys and there's 22 kids on the field, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Mark, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to take a look and start at all the clips from Friday night.
Okay.
There was a very controversial fumble in the game. We're going to take a look at that in a little bit.
Okay.
So just want to let a nice teaser for everybody at home. We'll be back right after this.
Good deal.
American Manufacturing Solutions is proud to invest in St. Mary's and proud to sponsor Rough Rider football. Think AMS, think logistics, done right. AMS is your complete supply chain solutions provider. Have electrical service needs? AMS can take care of that too. Call us at 419-300-1007 or visit us at AmericanMFGSolutions.com.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Glass Daringer Investment Management, we've got you covered. Stop in and speak with Jeff Daringer or Kevin Glass at 100 West Spring Street today. Glass Daringer Investment Management. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
For all your sporting good needs, visit Albert Sporting Goods at 121 West Spring Street, serving the St. Mary's community since 1980.
Auglaize Equipment Rental is your source for all your equipment needs. Whether you're a contractor or a homeowner with a project, we can help get the job done more efficiently. Check us out at 1900 Salina Road or auglaizeequipmentrental.com or just call 419-394-7883. Auglaize Equipment Rental.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Wanted to thank all of our sponsors out there. We wouldn't be able to bring this to you as Rider Nation Station without everybody sponsoring. So thank you to those. Mark, first clip here was just wanted to ease us into this. Just a simple false start by St. Mary's.
All right.
Just a little jump there by the wingback.
Well, can we see that again?
Yes.
Let's just take a look because I don't know. It's possible they called a false start, and maybe that little hitch in the jump up is what set him off. But quite honestly, that player is allowed to go in motion.
Okay.
And, maybe it was the quick start that threw him off a little bit because he's not allowed to simulate the start of the snap. But that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I'm not so sure. Maybe he did miss a snap count, but maybe he was just going in motion as well.
I guess when I was watching that, I just thought, it's obvious. Yeah, he moved before the snap. And now that you're talking about it, yeah, he could have been in motion, which is
right.
allowed as long as you're not moving towards the line, correct?
Right. So he just starts. I don't know. Can you run it again? Possibly. Yeah. Here we go. Let's just see one more time. Yeah, it's tough, but we don't get a flag from the linesman up at the top. We get it from the umpire. So if he was calling it on that wing that moved, that's not his main area of responsibility.
Okay.
So the wing thought it was fine, and everybody else thought it was fine. So I guess I would question it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I didn't see anybody else jump up, false start. So
right.
I think that's what he was calling it on. So we'll have to.
I guess we'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah, we'll move on. The next play here was a holding call on St. Mary's. I believe it was on the running back number 7 that you see there pushing his guy outside. The guy gets twisted around. I didn't think it was a real good call because, again, this is kind of what we've talked about for the last couple of weeks. It looks like the guy himself moved. He's got a little bit of a hold of the jersey there, but he was still pushing the guy in the direction that the guy was moving.
Yeah, that's one of them. You can't see the right hand of the back there. See what if he's grabbed onto something. He's kind of pushing him one-handed there, so it's kind of tough to hold somebody with one hand. And what they were doing there.
I think we have another view of it too. We may be able to see it
if we could see another view, possibly.
So right there on the end, he's pushing the guy out. And it's a little harder to see it out of the frame.
Early on in that play, I don't see a hold early.
Yeah.
So maybe it was there, but I surely don't see it.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot when I watched it on film. I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah, It looks like the blocker just pushes him out, and the back just cuts. And they both had their feet. The blocker wasn't beat. As a matter of fact, he had great position. So all those things combined makes that, in my opinion, a little suspect.
Have there been any emphasis on these type of calls? Because I keep seeing them as we go through the year, and I don't remember seeing this as much.
No, not really. I mean, you might see, people thought that when we went, some crews are going to 6 men, putting the center judge back behind the offensive line with the referee. Now, that's not the case here, I don't believe, and it goes away from what would be the center judge right at the wing guy up top. But no, there's been no special emphasis. We don't get bulletins saying we need to call more holding fouls or anything else like the NFL does. So, Nope, I'll tell you that. There's, at least officially, no.
Okay. Well, Mark, this next clip I thought was great because it showed us something that we had just talked about last week, which was what the St. Mary's running back hit in the backfield trying to catch a ball.
All right.
We talked about how he can be held, and that can be a penalty, but if he's hit, there's no pass interference.
Right. That's a good no call there. I mean, he's clearly behind the line of scrimmage. He gets hit. He doesn't get wrapped up and held or tackled. That would be a foul for holding.
Right.
He just gets blocked, so to speak, and there's nothing wrong with that behind the line of scrimmage.
And we talked about that during the game that Aiden Hinkle, if you're trying to catch a pass behind the line of scrimmage, there is no pass interference.
Correct.
There can be holding, but there's no pass interference, and that's a great example of it right there.
That is a good example right there. Yep.
Yeah. It's always great when we're able to see a clip for something that we had just talked about the week before.
And
so
here we go. Yep.
All right. So, Mark, this is there was a series of block in the back calls.
Okay.
Called on both teams throughout this game, and this is the first in a series of them. We're gonna revisit them a couple times, but I frankly didn't like the calls very much. Just wanted your take on this. The call was actually on I believe it's the right tackle or the right tight end.
All right.
The defender comes into it's in the backfield. So
okay, let's just take a look here and see if we can.
St. Mary's DN gets into the backfield and sort of dives at the guy, and they called.
Oh, yeah, number 52 there. Is that what we're talking about?
Correct.
Possibly.
Yep, in the backfield there.
I don't. Let's just see it again. It looks like to me that the defender was already on his way down, and there's really, in my opinion, that's a no call.
Now I want everybody at home, I want to show this next view of this. So we're able to look here after the fact at the side view. Now watch here from the back view, which is where it came from. Now I still don't know if it's a great call or not, but I can see from this angle why it looked a little bit worse than it was.
Let's look at where the ball carrier is at this point, though, because he's by the defender at that point. So, and it wasn't definitely a safety-related block in the back. It wasn't a hard hit. I think the blocker just continued to help the defender to the ground at that point. Defender's clearly beat, but I, from that spot as a referee, would not have called that. Doesn't mean it's not the right or wrong call. It just means that I would not have called that there.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're gonna revisit a lot of these block in the backs here, so we'll see more of that in a second. First, though, we had a pass interference call on St. Mary's. I'll be honest, I thought this was a little ticky-tacky. I think I said that during the game, during the broadcast, but OG does a nice job. The quarterback does a nice job of rolling out.
Yeah, I can see where he would have called that from behind. Let's just see if their feet get tangled.
Receivers here at the top of the screen after the OG quarterback rolls out.
Yeah, here he comes across. Yeah, that's tough from this angle to tell. I don't know. From this angle, I'll be honest with you. It's tough to tell. You'd have to look at that.
I think we have another angle here then.
Well, you surprise me all the time here, Zach. So this isn't. So let's see what we got. See if we can
maybe
tell
a little
what's going
out of
on.
frame though, if I remember right. Nope, there we go.
Oh, he saw the right hand on the back.
Okay.
That's what he saw. But did that actually? I mean, you can run and have the hand on, touching the other person. It's not like you're not allowed to touch them. It's just that if we added emphasis there, I'm sure that's what he saw, and probably took that to be the cause of the collision, so to speak. I'm not so sure it was, because I don't know that he's grabbing him or actually pushing him down with that hand. Maybe. It's tough to tell from this angle.
Yeah, I thought that, and when I watched it live, it looked to me like the wide receiver's momentum was taking him down to the ground.
Could very well be.
I understand, but if you're saying that he's going to maybe look at where the hand position is on the body, and
well, the flag came from the linesman who the runner and the defender are running away. He's going to see that right hand on the back, and then he's going to see the feet possibly get tangled or whatnot. Now, did the defender actually push him before the ball got there? From that angle, it's debatable. Maybe he did, but maybe he didn't.
Gotcha. Well, the next play was a disappointment from a lot of St. Mary's fans, but it was a horse collar that was called on St. Mary's. The quarterback, as he was, I believe, as he's running out of bounds here, just got pulled down on the back. Wanted to talk about the horse collar rule.
That if the defender had his hand on the what would be the nameplate of the offensive guy, or inside the back collar, and pulled him down backwards, that looks like a classic horse collar from this angle.
So we talked about this in previous years. It has to be above the nameplate or above, correct?
It's got this year there was a change where if there's a grab at what would be the nameplate on the jersey, or the inside or the side of the collar, something like that, and the defender is pulled basically backwards or sideways down, it's going to be a horse collar tackle, and it carries a 15-yard penalty.
And here's another angle, but in the past it had to have some of the equipment. It couldn't just be the jersey. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, if I had grabbed you on the shirt back there without getting my hands inside, no problem.
That rule has changed.
We
were talking before the show today, too. The rule also now includes any neck gaiters.
Or any neck gaiter that the players might be wearing, correct.
Okay.
Yep, which it's a safety-related issue. Because a player that's being pulled down backwards or sideways, their knees buckle, bad things happen to bodies when that happens, and that's what they're trying to eliminate with the rules.
We also talked, though, in the past that somebody has long hair, that does not count.
Correct. That's just a part of the body, and you grab somebody's ponytail or something like that and pull them down, or wherever they might have, it's not a problem.
So play with your long hair at
pull
your
them down,
own risk.
That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, next play here was another pass interference call on St. Mary's. This one was very tough to see from our camera angles here. It looked to me like he may have reached out and tripped the receiver, but it's, like I said, it's very hard to see from the camera angle.
Yeah, it's a little tough because the action is pretty much out of frame by the time we get to it. So,
but I just want it doesn't matter how he how we're used to seeing pass interference where they take some large hit on the guy,
right,
or they're wrapped up in them. I just thought that was interesting that it doesn't matter really, does it? If you just barely trip the guy's foot
here's
or
the deal.
Like
If they're running along and they may have been running side by side and looking for the football and their feet get tangled, you have nothing. That's just incidental contact. You've got nothing there because both players are entitled to the football.
Sure.
So if the defender was running along and had gotten beat and was behind the receiver going down, and now we have contact, now you may have a case for pass interference because he's not looking for the football. He's just probably trying to make it look like there was incidental contact when in fact there wasn't.
Right.
So in that case, the receiver is going to get the benefit of the doubt in a situation like that.
Right, and we did see 3 different flags come in there at the end. So
it's a pretty good indication somebody saw something. That's an indication, yes.
Right. Would have been a little more suspicious if only one, the back judge or somebody else, but a lot of people saw a lot with that. So,
right.
Next call here was a holding/tripping call on OG.
Okay.
So I guess I wasn't sure whether these are different fouls or this is considered part of the holding foul. So you'll see here on the interior of the OG line, which is a little tough from this angle, and we can also see it on the next angle. But in the middle of the OG line, he gets. St. Mary's defender gets by his man,
right,
and it seems to me like the OG defender reaches out and then also sticks his leg out and trips
Well, let's
him.
just see here once. This might be a better angle for us to take a look at. Can we run that again? Let's just take another look.
So I think we're talking about number 77 for St. Mary's.
Wow, I don't know. I mean, I think he came off the one block and just went to the inside guy. I don't know if he threw the leg out there. Did they call hold or did they call trip? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. I mean, maybe he got the hand out and tried to reach the defender, and that's what happened.
So what is the rule between holding and tripping?
Well, tripping obviously is if you're going to use any part of the lower leg to try to trip another player, including now the running back. You can't tackle a runner by, tripping him, so to speak.
Did that just change?
2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago. So, and we had one of those earlier this season in one of our games where the player, they were fussing and one player got knocked down and the defender went to run downfield and the offensive guy stuck his leg out and tripped the guy running by him. That's a foul.
Wow.
You can't do that. So here it looks more like maybe the offensive guy got his hand out and maybe restricted him a bit from getting by him.
And I don't recall them ever saying tripping. I remember it being called as a hold. I wasn't sure if they
that's more likely.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's more likely based on the clip. Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, Mark. When we come back, we're going to look at some more clips, including the infamous fumble.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll have more clips. We'll be back with the rules of the game with Mark Cisco right after this.
St. Mary's Foundry wants to take this opportunity to give a big shout out to all our local teams, wishing them a safe and extraordinary season. And speaking of great teams, St. Mary's Foundry would like to thank its very own team of hardworking employees for their loyalty and dedication. If you're looking for rewarding challenges and first-string wages and benefits, check us out at stmfoundry.com or on hometownopportunities.com. St. Mary's Foundry, where iron and ingenuity meet. Vogel's Bake Shop, making thousands of fresh donuts daily, open 7 days a week with stores in St. Mary's, Salina, and Walpock. Also now found in Wagner's IGA in New Bremen, Minster, and Fort Laramie. Guarneri's Pizzeria and Pub has partnered with Rider Nation Station this season so that every Friday night, Guarneri's can be Rough Rider Football Central. Guarneri's will be streaming Rough Rider football live every Friday night at 7, paired with your favorite Rider aid. Make sure to call and make your reservations now to ensure yourself a good seat. Call Guarneri's at 419-394-2244 and make your reservation today. And go Riders!
Miller Funeral Home has been serving the Rough Rider community in its time of need since the 70s. Our business is a family affair, dedicated to serving families with integrity, dignity, and compassion. Miller Funeral Home, proud to be a supporter of the Rough Rider community.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Join us every week as we look back at the clips from the previous game and talk about the perspective from the official's point of view. Mark, this next call here was a false start on St. Mary's. And I had brought one of these clips to you last week, and you were able to find the one that I couldn't see.
Let's just see here once.
I don't see it this week either, so I was hoping that you were able to.
Let's look at the receiver, the wide guy, if we could go back a clip. Boy, I don't see it there. Let's run it again and see if we can see the next guy in the tackle. All right, and then my last hope is maybe one of the running backs on this side, possibly. I don't see it.
Okay.
I don't see it. Don't know where. Let's see if there's something back here. I think they're fine there.
I've watched it several times.
So was the signal false start or was it an illegal shift? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe that's what it was.
Okay, so
I thought it was a false start. I thought that.
Yeah, that's probably from the wing guy. An illegal shift's going to be more from somebody like me who's looking back here going, okay, is everybody set for a second before they snap the football? That doesn't appear to be the case.
If we can see the other view, the previous angle, I think maybe the official at the bottom comes running in and making the false start motion.
Yeah, he does.
There.
So he's either looking at this guy out here wide or the tackle on the inside or possibly the back, but I don't see anything. Like, one more time. Let's look at the defender for a second. No, he's lined up fine. So it was on the offense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I can't find it.
Maybe we can watch that one more time. And I'm just thinking out loud now, was the wide receiver somehow over the line?
Well, there's probably the call right there.
Okay.
Let's look at that. Can you stop it when we get it back?
Sometimes it just takes looking at these things 10 or 12 times.
Just run it back a little bit more. More. Until the ball's down on the. All right, stop it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, look where the ball's at. So we got the wing guy at the top of the screen with the down box.
Yep.
He's straddling the 31-yard line. Look at the feet of the receiver.
Yep.
That's the call.
Way over.
So that's basically an encroachment call.
Okay.
And he's probably giving him a chance to get back, and he never does. And that's a problem right there. That receiver, quite honestly, should know better.
Yeah.
Because he can come out and look at the official and go, okay, I'm supposed to be on or off the line of scrimmage, and the official will respond, well, yes, you are on, or no, you're not. Mm-hmm. But he can't tell him to move because about the time we open our mouths to help him, they snap the football and people are moving. So he should have knew where the ball was and lined up accordingly.
Well, for the official's sake, I'm glad that we figured it out there.
Good call.
I'd been looking at it for a while and couldn't figure it out, but now that we're sitting here, I'm thinking,
good call.
That wide receiver looks a little bit further.
That's pretty obvious right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
Now we can't. Now we can't not see it.
That's right. That's right.
Look there. So let's take a look at the next clip. Then we have a block in the back called on St. Mary's. Again, in the series of calls here. This one's maybe a little bit more obvious, but I still think he had enough of the
I don't know.
side
Let's
of
look
him.
at that from the beginning, and we'll talk about that a second. Let's just see what happens. So we got
number 7, the running back comes out. And then,
yep, that's what happened. I was thinking maybe the offensive guy was engaged the whole time and didn't let him go, but number 7 was clearly not engaged. Here he comes right there. You know, that might be a little iffy because did he get him square in the back? Did any part of the block get him from the side? And if it got him from the side, then we don't have a block in the back.
Okay, so it has to be 100% to the back.
Well, I mean, that's a good indication, and the fact that he fell forward, that's another indication, but it's not always the determining factor. See, the player thinks he was blocked in the back, and maybe he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if he was, it's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another angle just showing number 7 again coming out.
Yep.
And then
from that angle.
Definitely looks more obvious from that angle,
it's
too.
a good call.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've seen that both ways tonight. We different blocks in the back. So here is another block in the back called on OG. So
all right.
I'm trying to remember. I think that this one was a worse call. So it's right there towards the tackle.
Yeah, I saw it out there, and the blocker did a bad thing by raising his arms, like, oh no, I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. That immediately draws attention, and maybe it was enough.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't take much at that point to push somebody past where they might be going and create a block in the back.
So if the defender's diving that way anyway and there's hands on the back, it may
different situation. I mean, diving is one thing. I mean, if you're going in to make the tackle and then he looks like he pushed him just a little bit to get behind the ball carrier,
Gotcha.
That was probably a good call.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, we saw a lot of block in the back calls during the game, so it was very interesting to be able to look at it and see what they were looking at and what the
now the other thing
saw.
that comes into play there possibly is if the offensive guy never lost contact with the defender, all right, and you can't tell them when they're really engaged, so they're engaged maybe. If the defender turns his back and there's no loss of contact and we just continue to block and push him, you don't have a foul. Okay.
So but it's initiating the block.
So if
the back.
You come up and we're blocking and you try to get around me and I maintain contact and continue to push you by the ball carrier, then there's no foul.
Sure, it's kind of like if you're an offensive lineman, you're dealing with spin moves all the time
exactly.
from defenders. Yeah.
But here's the problem. They tell us officials you have to see the whole play.
Okay.
So whether the official saw the whole play or not, maybe he did. Maybe there was a separation and we didn't see it. But
sure.
That's what we look for.
All right. Well, Mark, we've reached the final clip here, and as promised, this is the fumble recovery. Now, this angle, we have the huddle cameras here. A little bit harder to see. Maybe we'll be able to integrate our view of the game from the Rider Nation station cameras, where we were able to slow it down and show exactly. This was a fumbled snap from the quarterback to the in the center,
right?
And you have a St. Mary's defensive lineman dive in and it seemingly wrap his arm around the football. Here's another angle from above.
Well, let's just see if we can see. Well, we've got nothing there. We can't really tell.
Really hard to see.
St. Mary's kids seem to think that they have it. Of course, they all do, so to speak.
They're supposed to, right?
And the coaches, the previous clips seem to think that they have it, that the St. Mary's player indeed did jump on the football. Now, the problem with that is if the officials don't know or can't see that there was a clear recovery, then it becomes a fight underneath the pile as to who's going to come away with it. It's called survival of the fittest. And so whoever comes out with it is probably going to be awarded the football.
That was my question. So absent the official being able to see who is actually is 100% that they have the ball laying on the ground, whoever comes up with it at the end of the pile is what.
Correct. So, if we had knowledge that the defender fell on the football, I mean, the ball's dead at that point. No amount of jostling will take it away. If I see that, then we're going to award it. I don't care who comes out with it. But if we don't have a clue as to who jumped on it, then it's going to be like, all right, try to sort through. And the ball could change hands in that pile. Somebody could get taken away.
Are all the officials supposed to be looking for that?
Well, I mean, you got limited guys. I mean, the umpire's back here in the end zone. He's probably doesn't have a clue as to – he's got all these bodies.
Sure.
The wing guys are out there. They've got bodies in front of them. The referee's probably going to have the best look. But, again, he's got bodies – their bodies everywhere. And that's what you get in a fumble situation. People jumping and going and backs are coming. So it's very possible they didn't see who fell on it initially.
Where's the referee's position in this?
The referee, if you can see –
I can see his shadow. Is he in the middle
shadow
of the field?
about back at the 15-yard line or so, and about the middle of the field and on the 15. So when this happens, I mean, he sees the ball come loose, but then you've got running backs and everybody else trying to get to the ball, and he may not see who. Obviously, they didn't see who it was, and they just, we're going to have to dig it out and see what happens.
Well, like I said, these angles aren't as easy to see, but, man, the Rider Nation station got a great view of it. Thanks to all our camera guys for getting great shots for us. And we can maybe overlay that in here, but thought it was more interesting what the officials are looking at in that situation and what the rule is. And so we were always taught that as players to come up with the ball from the bottom of the pile. But interesting to hear that's the actual.
So if you follow it, you
default.
want to make sure you get it in there and you keep it. That's the moral of the story.
Right.
Yep.
And it's football. Balls are gonna fall different ways, and you can't always rely on you can't dwell on calls like that. You gotta move on. So certainly understand. Well, Mark, thank you so much for joining us again.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Zach.
We want to remind everybody every week we're going to have this show along with the Doug Fry Show and our regular football broadcasts on Friday nights live now from YouTube. And also we're able to get some other games, soccer, hopefully some other things around town here from Rider Nation Station. So be sure to join us every week. For my guest, Mark Cisco, I'm your host, Zach Farrell. We'll see you again next week, everyone.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.